Okay, so on this note, I welcome you to Month of Math, Week 1. Please, can you all see the screen? If you can see the screen, give us a thumb up. If you can see the screen that we are sharing, give us a thumb up. Month of Math, Week 1. Types of learners and management strategies. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. So this evening, we are about to zoom into the beginning of the Week 4 training on mathematics. We are fortunate to have a very well equipped, a seasonal lecturer, someone who is passionate about things of mathematics. He is going to take us through the 4 weeks of impactful training. Please, if you are not talking, kindly mute your mic. If there is someone on floor, please mute your mic until you are ready to speak. Okay, those who have just joined, please type your names and your school in the comment section. We will acknowledge your school as we move on. We will be sharing this recorded version of this webinar on our social media platforms. So later you can listen to it and then still remind yourself about what we have shared today. We'll have in between time some 5 to 10 minutes to give you some announcements. When that time comes, we'll inform you. Thank you. So tonight we have a gentleman who is taking us through these 4 weeks of this training in mathematics. Mr. Seshie Frank Kwame is the holder of Masters in Education Mathematics from University of Cape Coast. He's also holding Bachelor in Education Mathematics, also from UCC. And currently, he is a student offering his MPhil in Mathematics Education at CK Tedan University, Namvrongo. He is a teacher at Michel Camp 2, JHS. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of us to pay attention as we open the 4 weeks of maths training. So I hand over to Mr. Frank Kwame Seshie to begin the section. Can you welcome him with a thumb up? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Yes, let's welcome him. Let's welcome him some applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So please, let's keep our mics mute. Thank you. Please, Mr. Frank,
okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. I believe you can hear me.
Yes, please.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. We are all welcome to the month of mathematics, the first out of the 4-week session that we are going to have. Today is just going to be brief. We are going to look into the introductory part, which will open up conversations for week 2, week 3, and then week 4. Today we are basically going to look at types of learners in the mathematics classroom. So as far as I am concerned, as far as you are concerned, this evening our interaction is going to be mathematics. And if you are looking at types of learners, the focus or the focal point here is type of learners in a mathematics classroom. Now, let's set the ball rolling by having to reflect on some of these things I have here. Reflective thinking. Let's reflect on some of these things. In brief, 1 minute, let's reflect on this. Please, the next slide, let's reflect on this. There is a circular pond with a circumference of 400 meters. Dead in the center of the pond is a frog on a lily pad. If the average leap of a frog is 2.25 meters, and there are plenty of other lily pads on which to jump, what is the minimum number of leaps it would take for the frog to jump completely out of the pond? Anybody who has the answer can unmute and then say it out. We are starting with the first one. Within 1 minute, we should be done with the first question. Any idea? The background is noisy.
Madam Nancy Peprap, kindly mute. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody ready for us for the first question? It is going to be an interactive session, so just try. All answers are correct. All answers are correct. We are all learning. All answers are correct. So don't be shy to share your answer. Any idea from anyone? Wow. Or the question is not clear. Okay, so we would hold on with the first one and then we move to the second one. Later, we would come back to the first one. How many numbers are between -3? Yes, okay.
I think you get 177.8 leaps or jumps.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Any other answer? Any other answer? Okay. Then we move to the second question. How many numbers are between -3 less or equal to x less or equal to 3? How many numbers are between -3 less or equal to x?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have about 7 numbers.
7 numbers, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Any other answer? Any other answer?
Hello, six numbers.
6 numbers, okay. Any answer?
Hello, 7 numbers.
7 numbers, okay. Any other answer?
7 numbers.
7 numbers, 5 numbers, okay. If wherever you are there is noise at your background, you can just type your answer in the chat box. You will see it. Okay, thank you very much for that prompt answers to the second question. The third one, do we all agree with the formula I have there? Simple interest is equal to principal times time times rate all out of 100. Is that formula correct, or is there an issue with that formula I have there? Is that formula correct? Simple interest is equal to principal times time times rate, all out of 100.
Yes, please. It's correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that's correct.
okay. And then the fourth one is talking about a exponent 0 is equal to 1.
Yeah, that's also true.
Okay, all right.
That's
Thank you
also
very
correct.
much. Thank you very much. Reflective thinking. These are some of the issues that we, please can you go back for me? Go back from your hand. These are some of the issues that happen in our mathematics classrooms. Observation is key. And then sometimes some of the answers that we give, they should be based on some keynotes. Keynotes, to a large extent, determines the answer to many mathematics questions. If you watch the first question, we have several information that is going to help us to solve the question: circular pond, circumference, lily pads. But the key to answering that question is in the second sentence, which says that dead in the center of the pond is a frog. So if a frog that is dead is at the center of the pond on a lily pad, and they are asking you the leap of a frog, obviously a dead frog cannot leap. So the first question, the answer is there is no leap, because the frog at the center of the pond is dead. So it is very important that in our math class, we tailor our assessments to suit some of these things. So question 1, there is no leap because the frog at the center of the pond is dead. Question 2, I ask how many numbers are between -3 less or equal to x less or equal to 3. In fact, there are infinite number of numbers, because I believe that the key to the answers you were giving me is because you are seeing the x as an integer, and there is nowhere in question 2 that I stated that x is an integer. But one thing we know in question 2 is that x is in between -3 and 3, of which -3 and 3 are inclusive. And there are several numbers you can get between -3 and 3, of which -3 and 3 are inclusive. You can get -2.99, -2.999999, -2.8, -2.7. You can get 0, 0.1, 0.3. You can get 1, you can get 1.2, 1.3. You can get several numbers between -3 less or equal to x less or equal to 3. So the caveat to making our answer, which is 7, correct, is when I continue by saying that x is an integer. But if there is no caveat that x is an integer, there are several numbers in between this range. Then simple interest is principal times time times rate over 100. I've been seeing this a lot in our books, and there is an error, because the out of 100 is only coming because in most cases our rate is in percentage. In some extreme cases, questions can be tailored such that our rate is not in percentage, and therefore the out of 100 would not hold. So the out of 100 is there because our rate is in what? Percentage. A exponent 0 is equal to 1 is only true if A is a natural number. Because if A is a whole number, let's say 0, 0 exponent 0 would not give you 1. So these are some of the things that as mathematics teachers, we have to reflect on them. And then if we are teaching our kids, we have to give them the right concepts. We have to give them the right concepts other than the procedures. So these are just some few questions that I have here, just to make us reflect on the things we teach our learners in the classroom. So I'll come your way with more as we go to week 2, week 3, week 4. So let's now come to the main item on the bill. We are looking at types of learners in a math classroom. I have categorized the types of learners in a math classroom into three: high achievers, achievers, and low achievers. We have high achievers, achievers, and then low achievers. I have categorized them into these three groups. Now, before we delve into high achievers and then we move into achievers, then we go to low achievers, I want to ask, do we agree that the standards as far as mathematics is concerned has fallen in Ghana? If we agree, what do you think contribute to the falling standards of mathematics in our country? If you think the standards of mathematics has fallen, if you agree with that, then you tell us what you think has contributed to the fall in standard of mathematics in this country. I'll take three views, then we move to the types of learners we take our achievers. Okay, I've seen two hands up. I've seen Mastrovet hand up. Then Akofo's hand also up. Let me start with Mastrovet, then I go to the Akofo. Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pertaining to this, I would say that the cause is one, the method of delivery, that's the pedagogy, the means by which we deliver the lesson to the students. And then another point is communication, how we communicate. Our language also has become a factor to this bad math students out there.
Okay, so the methods of delivery and then the language. Thank you very
The
much.
language.
Okay. Dana Akofo, the floor is yours. I can see your hand up. Okay. Okay. Jemima Tete, okay. I can see your hand up. The floor is yours.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, I think that the reason why we are having this issue could be that lessons or numeracy math lessons are taught in abstracts.
Okay.
We do not use real material to teach. Secondly, we do not relate the lessons to real life issues. So
Okay.
people feel that, oh, it's just calculation, calculation, calculation. That is why we might be having these challenges.
Okay. Thank you very much. So abstract teaching of concepts and then relating lessons to real life situations. Okay, thank you very much. Brother Jonathan, okay, the floor is yours.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good evening.
I
We can hear
think
you.
the reason why our mathematics has gone down as a nation is we have made it seem like maths is difficult and it's not easy to understand mathematics. So everybody goes like maths is difficult, maths and I think psychologically it is affecting us as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So it boils down to the psychology behind mathematics and how we make mathematics seem to be a difficult subject. It affects our learners. Okay, thank you. Last one. Okay, Sister Abigail Ofori, the floor is yours.
Yes, I'm also thinking that if class size can also affect it, because
Yeah.
if the class is overcrowded or the children are too many in the classroom, it can limit the individual attention that can be given to or support students.
Okay, so class size. Thank you very much. Okay, class size. But that shepherd, yeah, the floor is yours. My shepherd, the floor is yours. You can unmute yourself and then talk. Okay, but the shepherd is not ready. Okay, so thank you for your contributions. All of these points we have stated are part of the reason why the standards in this country, as far as mathematics is concerned, has fallen. And these reasons that we have given is what contributes to a large extent why we have our learners being categorized into any of these three groups: high achievers, achievers, low achievers. Okay, so let's look at who the high achievers are, who the achievers are, who the low achievers are. Then we'll look at how to manage them in a mathematics classroom. It is becoming a difficult task if you are a teacher and you are handling a class, and the class comprises high achievers, achievers, and low achievers. It becomes difficult to meet up their standards. Many a times, we focus our attention on how to help the low achievers to do well in mathematics, and all our efforts, all our energies are channeled into helping the low achievers. At the end of the day, we end up neglecting the needs of the high achievers, and they never improve upon their mathematics. We end up having achievers in our classroom who never improve. So who are the high achievers? We are looking at students who consistently demonstrate exceptional academic performance, motivation, and engagement in math-related activities. Now, these are learners that, in quote, we term them as the gifted. The gifted. There are some who are gifted with mathematics. They are gifted with mathematics. And these people end up becoming high achievers. Or we look at some who have a very solid foundation as far as mathematics is concerned. Their numbers is very solid. Coming up to the JHS level, they had solid foundation at the primary level. They are able to calculate. They are able to do basic algebra. They are able to do some geometry, and their statistics and probability is on point. And these people can be categorized under high achievers. And what are the indicators that we use to see that this person is a high achiever? One is that they consistently have high grades. High grades. You set a mathematics assessment task or test for learners and realize that someone is scoring 97, 96 consistently, 90 consistently, 92 consistently. This person can be categorized under high achievers. And then we look at they have mastery of mathematical concepts and skill. Mathematical concepts are different from skill. That is one area that we don't pay particular attention to. We have the mathematical concepts and then we have the skill. When we talk about mathematical concepts, we are looking at the rationale or the idea behind the topic that we are treating. Why is it that the area of a rectangle is length times width? Why is it that the area of a circle is pi r squared? The reason or the idea behind the pi r squared is the concept. And the skill in here is if the student is able to understand that the area of a circle is pi r squared, and the student is given diameter, the student is given radius, and the student is asked to find the area, the skill, how the student will be able to solve questions pertaining to area of a circle is the skill. So these students demonstrate mastery of mathematical concepts and skills. They are also excellent problem solving. They have excellent problem solving abilities. So when you tailor your mathematics lesson into problem solving, or you create problems in a mathematics classroom, they will be able to apply the concept you have taught them and the skill they have gained in your mathematics classroom to solve problems excellently. Their ability to apply math to the real world problems is also very high, and they are also advanced in the understanding of mathematical concepts. When you teach them a concept, they will be able to summarize this for you. They will be able to tell you at what point will the concept hold, at what point will the concept not hold. You see that their understanding of the mathematical concept is well advanced. At the point in time, I was teaching a student how to add and subtract integers. So after delivering my lesson, the student told me point blank that she has realized something about the whole lesson I taught for an hour. What is it? She said she realized that anytime the numbers we are working around are both negative, our results will always be negative. And anytime the numbers we are working at have, let's say, negative and positive numbers, she realized that the larger number between the two of them, the sign of the larger number between the two of them affects the result, and then there is an element of subtraction in there. So this particular student is demonstrating an advanced understanding of the mathematical concept, and these are some indicators that points to our learners becoming high achievers. Sometimes we can have high achievers who will demonstrate mastery of mathematical concept skill. They have excellent problem solving abilities, but they may not be getting high grades consistently. Then you know that they are high achiever, but there's a problem somewhere. So let's look at achievers. No, high achievers, let's move on. This is the academic indicator. They have behavioral indicators too. Actively, they participate in class discussions. If you give them the floor to deliberate on certain concepts in the classroom, you see them actively involved in whatever discussion that you are having with the class as far as concepts are concerned. Then their engagement with challenging math problems is on a high. On a high. Then their persistence in overcoming obstacles. You throw a question in the classroom for learners to think through it and then find solution to them, and some give up. These high achievers will persist in overcoming the obstacles. Sometimes it may take them days, but they would persist in overcoming the obstacles. That is some of the behavioral indicators that you can have in these high achievers. Let's look at some of the attitudinal indicators you can also see in these high achievers. They have confidence in their mathematical abilities. You don't need to motivate them for them to know they are good at the subject. Their confidence is on the high. They believe and trust in their mathematical abilities. They have positive attitude towards mathematics. Their curiosity and interest in exploring math concept is very, very high. You teach them that you have to solve the question this way, they'll be asking you, why not this way? Why not the other way around? Why not you use this and that? Sir, if you use this and you use that, would this formula still hold? They are very curious in exploring mathematical concepts, and their interest in exploring math concept is very high. Then their resilience in the face of challenges is also very high. Then they have this growth mindset. When they make mistakes, they are ready to learn, they're ready to overcome obstacles, they're ready to grow, they are ready to accept that they would have to adapt to certain things to be able to assimilate certain concepts. Yes, so they have the growth mindset as well. That is the attitudinal indicators of high achievers. Yes, we are still on the high achievers. We are still on the high achievers. So we just finished the indicators that we use to know that these particular learners of ours in the classroom are high achievers. So we have looked at the academic indicators, the behavioral indicators, and then the attitudinal indicators. So I want to ask, before we move to the achievers, have you seen some high achievers in your classroom? How would you know they should possess some of these qualities that we have just talked about? And is there any more to add to the indicators of high achievers? Is there any more to add to the indicator of high achievers?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think they also like to bring questions that they have come across, they had difficulty with to the class for any explanations.
Yeah, yes. Sometimes they can also be very stubborn in a sense that they set up some questions themselves, putting some caveats in the questions, and just bringing them to the class just to disturb the class. Sometimes that's what they do. Sometimes they test your knowledge as a teacher. So if you, the teacher, you're not on top of your game, sometimes they may end up disgracing you with certain kind of questions. If you have many high achievers in your class, then you are in for trouble. So it is true, sometimes they look out for challenging questions and then they end up bringing it on board for discussion. Some are very patient, some are very calm, they would bring it up for discussion. Some too would try and find their way around it and just bring it to the class just to disturb you, the teacher. Yes, some just come to test to know if you, the teacher, you are of your game or not. Sometimes when you are building the concept gradually from the scratch, they are looking for difficult questions to solve. Yes, these are some of the indicators of high achievers. Any more? Thank you very much. Any more of the high achievers? Any indicator? Yes, sir. Mr. Kingsley.
Sometimes they tend to gather a few friends and teach them when it comes to mathematics. And also
Yes.
they also bring questions. They also give their math teachers questions almost every day or within
Yeah.
every 2 days. They'll bring a question for the teacher to solve.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. With you see, it's different understanding mathematics concept, and it's different understanding math concept from teaching math concept. There are some who understand the concept but they cannot teach. Yes, so for your learner to be able to teach the mathematics concept, gather a few friends, teach them. These are some attributes of high achievers. Sometimes, if you watch them teach the concept, you, the teacher, you realize that they have in-depth knowledge about the math concept they're talking about. So sometimes they end up teaching their friends the mathematics concept. Someone typed in the chat box that they lose interest in topics they are conversant with. Yes. If you are teaching the same thing over and over again, and that would be a management strategy for the low achievers. You would get there. If you are doing that over and over again, they tend to lose interest in your class. As for them, what they are looking out for is something challenging, something tough, something that will cause them to rack their brains. That's all what they are looking out for in a math class. So if you are constantly giving them very simple tasks to do, they lose interest in the subject. That is why I said early on that if you have high achievers, and low achievers in your classroom, you are in for trouble. Because some of the things as to giving very simple task is for low achievers. And if you are doing that, the low achievers will pick up and the high achievers will lose interest in your class. So that is one thing about them. Yeah. Any more about high achievers? Okay, so let's move on to achievers, then we go to the low achievers. For the achievers, they are students who demonstrate consistent academic progress, motivation, and engagement in math-related activities. They meet expectations and standards. For them, they don't normally have the high grades as compared to the high achievers. They have good grades. They can score 65. Consistently, you are seeing them within 60 to 80. Consistently, they are within 60 to 80. 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Once in a while, you see them getting to the 90s. But in most cases, you see them within the 60 to 80 range. Then they have solid understanding of mathematical concepts. And then their proficiency in problem solving is also very high. Their ability to apply maths to familiar problems is also high, and they meet curriculum requirements. So these are some of the academic indicators of achievers. They are more like the high achievers, but the difference between the two is that the high achievers have something innate that the achievers don't have. They have something innate, something that is inborn, something that is inherent in them that the achievers don't have. So if you have an achiever in your class and a high achiever in your class, they may both be working hard, but it becomes difficult for the achiever to overthrow the high achiever because the high achiever have something innate, some desire within that makes them stand taller than achievers. But in most cases, they look the same. They look the same. That's the academic indicators for achievers. So we move on to the behavioral indicators for achievers. Yes, so regularly they participate in class. Their engagement with moderate level math. You see, for the achievers, one thing about them is that when the mathematics is at the moderate level, that is where they tend to take charge of the class. When you give an easy task, they are in control. The moderate level task, they are in control. But if you are giving them very tough critical thinking questions, that is the ground for the high achievers to dominate the class. So if you are always or constantly giving moderate level questions and then simple questions in your class, you wouldn't be able to differentiate between high achievers and achievers. Because high achievers will be doing well with the moderate level questions. Achievers will also be doing very well in the moderate level questions. So the only point where you can differentiate between the two of them is when your question is at a high level, when the question is such that they have to think critically to be able to bring out the concepts, to be able to solve the questions, then you will see the high achievers dominating the class. And that is where the achievers also have difficulty in. But they engage very well with the moderate level math problems. They seek help occasionally. They complete homeworks and assignments. They do very well with this part as well. Then let's look at their attitudes, the indicators of their attitudes. They have positive attitude towards maths. Their interest in learning maths is also high. Their willingness to ask questions is there, more like the high achievers. And then they also have this level of persistence in overcoming challenges, and their openness to feedbacks. We give them feedbacks. They are very open to accept them. They embrace them, and these are the achievers. So as I said earlier on, with the high achievers and the achievers, there's just a thin line between the two of them. The high achievers have something in it, something in them, something inherent in them that makes them stand tall as compared to the achievers. And in most cases, it becomes difficult for you to differentiate between the achievers and the high achievers. Sometimes you use the score to tell. In most cases, in our classrooms, we may think that we have students who are high achievers, but in actual sense, they are achievers. Why? If I give a task to my class and the task is a moderate level task, the high achiever will score 99, 98. The achiever may also score 99, 98 because the task given to them is a moderate level task. So you may think that once the student is scoring 99, 98, that student is the high achiever. But it is because the task you are giving to them is the moderate level task. And in a moderate level task, the achievers do very well in there, as well as the high achievers. So it is very important for you to vary your assessment task. If I'm giving you 5 questions, my students will tell you that for you to get 5 out of 5 in assignment, it means you are very good, because I would vary my questions. I'll give 2 low-level questions. I'll give 1 moderate level question, or I'll give 2 moderate level questions, and I'll give 1 very high level question, so that it will be able to bring the distinction between high achievers, and then low achievers. So you see, I talked about 2 low-level questions. So the low achiever can do at least 2 low-level questions, and the moderate level questions is for the achievers, and the high level questions is for our high achievers. So if your task is not tailored towards this, at the end of the day, you may think that your achievers are high achievers, but it is because of the kind of assessment task you give to them. So that is it for the achievers. Any other characteristics of achievers that we know? Any other is welcomed. We can put it up in the chat box, or we can just show the hand up, and then okay, Mr. Henry, yeah, you can unmute and talk, sir.
Mr. Henry, your hand is up. Okay, I think we can move. Yeah, he has dropped it.
All right. Okay, Mr. Gashan.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Mine is more like a question.
Okay.
In a class, let's say you have a class with a large class size.
Okay.
Can you assign a high achiever to an achiever in terms of questions? Let's say you set a question to them on the board, and then the class is very large. Can you assign the high achiever to the achiever to map the ratio?
Okay. I think that there will be time for questions, but I'll answer this one. But other questions, let's note them down. When it's time for questions, then we bring it up. It depends on, you see, as a good mathematics teacher, you should be able to know how many high achievers there are in your class, how many achievers there are in your class, how many low achievers there are in your class. So after this lesson, after this interaction, when we go back to our classroom, that is the first task we have to do. Then if you are pairing a high achiever to an achiever,
okay,
if you are pairing a high achiever to an achiever, and you have majority of your class being made up of low achievers, then you are in for doom. So it depends on the number of low achievers, and high achievers that you have in your class. If most of your learners are achievers and you have some high achievers and very few of them are low achievers, then there is no challenge pairing high achievers with achievers. But in most cases, you pair high achievers with some low achievers. Then you pair the achievers with also some low achievers as well. Then sometimes some of the achievers, those who are at the base of achievers, you can pair them with high achievers. You see, there is the base of the achievers. They are always within the 60s. They are always within the 60s. Then we have the apex of the achievers. They are also within the 80, 70, 80. They are the apex. They are the top of the achievers. So it depends on the number of achievers and high achievers and low achievers in your classroom. Then that would give you the chance to do the pairing. Okay, thank you. Any other? I want contribution for the achievers. Okay, let's go to low achievers. These are students who consistently demonstrate below average academic performance, motivation, and engagement in mathematics. Types of low achievers: we have struggling learners. We have at-risk learners, and we also have students with learning abilities. So with students with learning abilities, I'll take it from there. I'm talking about dyscalculia. There are some students who have difficulty in calculations, naturally have difficulties in calculations. And I would say a high percentage of mathematics is full of calculations. So because they have natural problem in calculations, they would definitely fall under low achievers, because most of our mathematics is full of calculations. So they are some type of low achievers. Then we also have at-risk learners. So these are people who persistently they struggle in mathematics, okay, but they require some targeted interventions. If you put some serious interventions in place, they'll be able to move from low achievers and then go to achievers. Some too are struggling learners. They have temporal difficulties, so they will respond well to support. So under these three types of low achievers, where we have major problem is the students with learning disability, dyscalculia, as far as maths is concerned. But the at-risk learners, if you put some interventions in place, they'll be able to climb up. And the struggling learners too, it depends on it's just a temporal difficulty. You taught them integers, they are doing well, but you teach them algebraic expressions and realize that they are scoring 0, they are scoring 1. But when you taught integers, they are scoring 9 over 10, 8 over 10, 6 over 10, 7 over 10. So these people are low achievers as far as algebraic expression is concerned, but we don't jumble them with those with the learning disability, because for them, they are at-risk learners. Their only issue they have has to do with algebraic expressions, but at that point in time, they are also low achievers. So let's move on to the next aspect of it. The types of low achievers, we are down the 3 types. Then causes of low achievement. Sometimes learning disabilities, that is dyscalculia, limited prior knowledge or foundation. Many a times we create these low achievers by the way we teach the subject. We don't link the topic to the foundation or prior knowledge that our learners have. Some too, they have limited prior knowledge. Imagine a student who finds it very difficult to add numbers. that student has issues with adding numbers, definitely that student will have issues with adding algebraic expressions. Because if you are adding algebraic expressions, the prior knowledge you would need is adding numbers. So if that student cannot add numbers, definitely that student will have issues adding algebraic expressions. Definitely that student will have issue adding basic sets. So you see that sets would come down to algebraic expression. The prior knowledge for set is algebraic expression, and the prior knowledge for algebraic expression is also numbers. So if a student has difficulty in adding numbers, that student will find difficulty in algebraic expression. That same student will find difficulty in what? Sets. So limited prior knowledge is one of the causes of low achievement in our mathematics classroom. Lack of practice and reinforcement. So there are some students, when you teach them, they get a limited knowledge on the concept you have introduced them to. They would have to go and practice to reinforce whatever you have taught them. But because they are lacking this practice and reinforcement, definitely they will remain under the low achievers. So there are these high achievers, they don't need much practice to be able to grasp concepts. But if you are an achiever, at the base of it, you would need to consistently practice. So lack of practice and reinforcement can cause low achievement. Learning style mismatches. Yes, we have these 3 learning styles. We all know them. Kinesthetics, we have the auditory, and then we have the visual. So some learn better when they see. Some also learn better when they hear. Some also learn better when their hands are on whatever you are doing, or they are engaged with a hands-on activity with a concept. So if you are not matching up with their learning style, it can also be a cause for low achievement. Imagine a student who always wants to feel objects to be able to understand the concept, and you are teaching such student numbers in the abstract. Someone mentioned the maths is taught in abstract. 1 + 3 is 4 at the basic level, and you are not showing them 1 object and 3 objects, and the idea of addition means bringing them together for them to see that 1 object, 3 objects being brought together would sum up to 4. That student would have issues adding at the basic level, because that student's learning style is not matching up with the style the teacher is adopting in the classroom. Some too auditory, they want to be hearing much. So if all you do is engage them hands-on activity without a lot of interactions, then there's a mismatch with the learning style also. Then limited access to resources. So if you be able to match their learning styles, you need to inculcate technology in your delivery, and you need some resources to make you be on top of your game. So limited access to this technology and then resources is our problem. Some of our classrooms, we have projectors, we have TVs, but the applications that we need to use to be able to bring the concept to the doorstep of our learners, we don't even know it. So that is why KS Consult is here. We'll guide you with some of the applications you need. So limited access to these resources is also causing low achievement in our classes. So let's briefly go through the indicators. Consistently, they score below 50% in math assessment. Consistently. So let's get this right. It doesn't mean that if someone scores 45 in a math test, you can categorize that person as a low achiever. No. If that person scores 45%, 46, 47, 43, consistently, the keyword here is consistently. At times, your learners who are achievers may score 45% once in a while, but consistently, if they are scoring that amount or that percentage, it means that they are the low achievers. They struggle with basic math concepts and operations. They demonstrate limited understanding of mathematical vocabulary. So if you use the math vocabularies in your delivery, they demonstrate limited understanding of it, and they have difficulty applying math to the real world problems. They are a very big challenge when you are trying to, sometimes if you even do 2x plus 1 equals 4, find x, they are struggling with it. Then now you are telling them that Amma is 4 times as old as Yao. In 5 years' time, Amma is twice as old as Yao. Find their ages now. Oh, they are off the hook. They have difficulty applying math to the real world. Now let's look at the behavioral indicators. Limited participation in math classes, lack of engagement and motivation, difficulty following instructions. You tell them to do math this way, they will do it the other way around. They have difficulty following instructions. They struggle to complete homeworks and assignments. You give 5 exercises for them to take home. They come back and they are done only 2. They have left 3 for you to do for yourself. They struggle to complete their homeworks. If you put pressure on them, they will copy their friend's homework and present to you. The struggle is there. So if you put pressure on them, they won't bring 2, but they will bring what the 5 complete, but 3 are from their friends. Sometimes all 5 are from their friends. Yes, so let's look at the attitudinal indicators as well. They have negative attitude towards mathematics. They lack confidence in their math abilities. They lack confidence. They have fear or anxiety towards math. One of my students approached me and said, anytime she hears we are going to write a math test, sometimes it comes to mind. But for the fear, just hearing math test, the fear alone, the answer leaves. Sometimes they have sweaty palms. They are sweating. And so they have fear or anxiety towards maths. Then they have limited persistence in overcoming challenges. Oh, you give them a challenge. Every time they will say, oh, okay, it's easy. It's easy after you have solved it. But I give it to them, then the next 1-2 minutes, they leave it somewhere. They will not, and sometimes the kind of answer they write for you has nothing to do with the solution if you put pressure on them. These are some of the students that you give them some problem to solve, they start solving the problem. At the end, before going through their steps, there is no equal to sign. At the end, you see an equal to sign. Where is the equal to sign coming from? They can explain to you. They do the maths anyhow. I think some of these students, they create their own concepts. So it becomes a challenge if you have low achievers in your class. So I think I'll pause here whilst we take 1 or 2 from Brad Godwin, then we come back. But before we take 1 or 2 from Brad Godwin, we'll come back to questions. So I'll pause here. So we take 1 or 2 from Brad Godwin, then we continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Brad Frank. Let's give some thumb up for him. So far, so good. Yes, thank you. Yes, I hope everything is moving well. We are enjoying every bit of it. We are taking down our notes. So we now invite Brad Godwin. So kindly note down your questions just after Brad Godwin, then you can read with your questions. Mr. Amuzu, your hand is up. Yes, we'll get back to you. Note it down just after Brad Godwin, then we come in with the questions. Thank you.
Please, can you hear me? It's actually Perry, not Godwin. So it's actually Perry. Am I heard, please? Moderator.
Yes, please. Sorry. Yes, please. Yeah, we can hear
All
you.
right,
We can
sure.
hear you. Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're excited to see you here. It's a lot of learning for us. And we just want to do some two quick announcements. We want you to know that at Kinsell's Educational Consult, We are dedicated to empowering schools like you with the latest tools, strategies, resources to keep us up to date with today's educational demands. Okay. And so our social media platforms are very important, and we want you to follow us and get these valuable insights, upcoming programs, and maybe opportunities for funding and tips for your school growth, innovation, and the likes. So if you are here and you like to stay connected and get first-hand updates, we would love for you to follow us by joining our online community. You can see that I'm sure Godwin is already sharing the links. Um, Godwin, can you kindly share the links in the text message box so that as you can see it on the screens. I wish they were on in the messages rather, so that they can just click and join straight ahead, sharp, sharp, sharp. So as you can see the link, you are not part. Just some of you are also asking for videos. We'll be sharing this on our YouTube and the rest. You won't come and ask for recordings and stuff. So please, if you are enjoying this and you think it is helping, help us help you more. And then the second announcement has to do with our upcoming seminar. So it's actually for us educators. We know that all of us want to prepare our students for a fast evolving world. And AI is transforming how we live, how we work, how we learn, and it's critical that our schools keep pace. And so the AI School Certification Program, as you are seeing on your screen, is designed to help schools like ours lead in the AI education, providing unique benefits like enhanced learning outcomes, a stronger school reputation, and even funding opportunities. So I'd love to see you at our upcoming info session on November 13th. The date is November 13th, where we'll go into detail about how this certification can set your school apart. And if you are interested, here's the link. Godwin is sharing the link. Just go there, click it, and you will register from there. We'll follow up and we'll keep you in touch on the links and stuff like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We hope to see you on Wednesday. The time is 11:30 to 12 p.m. Moderator, thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you all. Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Welcome back from the commercial break. So now we are ready to take your questions, contributions. Yes, Mr. Muzu, I saw your hand up early on. Can you? Yes, okay. Mr. Harry Dixon.
Okay, good evening to each and every one of us. I happen to join a bit late, but I am sure with the handout being sent to us, I believe I have gotten maximum details. But I wanted to ask a question concerning how to build the zeal for them to have the interest in math, especially because I realized that there are few students who might be able to cherish the idea of solving some simple questions, but then the interest is not there. The interest is much more focused on other related subjects like English and then maybe social studies. So if math could be part of this zeal, I will be glad if any of us can come up with questions or some sort of idea or suggestion that will help me build my students with a zeal or the interest in maths. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Frank.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. How do you build a zeal in mathematics? Everything starts from the teacher and it ends with the teacher. Building the zeal is about building concepts. Building concepts. You see, if you are interested in building the concepts with the learners, what happens is that it whips the interest in them. Let me give a practical example of what I'm talking
Or
about.
sister cooking.
Okay, okay,
So,
that'll be fine.
you are teaching area of a triangle in a class. Now,
Okay,
I am giving a practical example. I'm going to use two teachers as case study in here. Teacher A starts. Learners, you are welcome to today's lesson. We are going to talk about area of a triangle. So to find the area of a triangle, the formula is half times base times height. So you keep that in class. The whole class, repeat after me, half times base times height. Okay, let's take examples. Question 1. Find the area of a triangle whose base is 7 centimeters and height is 6 centimeters. Then you quote the formula. Wherever you see base 7 centimeters, you see height 6 centimeters. 2 divides 6 of 1 divides 6 3. Then blah blah blah. Example 2, example 3. You are done with your lesson. We'll meet again tomorrow. Teacher B starts by letting the students
What is that?
come out with a formula.
Kozo, what is making the
okay,
noise?
Sir Henry, please, can you mute?
okay,
When I'm done, then you come in. Thank you very much. So teacher B starts by explaining to the learners that if you want to find the area of a triangle, you can deduce a triangle from a rectangle. If we have a diagonal or we cut a rectangle along the diagonal, it produces two triangles. The students understand that area is the surface of the rectangle. So they tend to understand that. Then now our rectangle is now having two different surfaces, which gives us two different triangles. Okay, so now it means that if we are able to find the area of a rectangle and we divide that into two equal parts, one of it will be the area of a triangle. Now, then we can say that the area of a triangle, the students will come out with the formula. They will tell you that the area of a triangle is half times length times breadth. Then you grow up with them and let them see that the length of a rectangle is now the base of a triangle, and the breadth of a rectangle is now the height of the triangle. So what do you think will be the area of a triangle? The students themselves will come out and tell you the area of a triangle is half times base times height. When you build the interest of your learners in this way, when you teach them the concept in this way, it builds their interest, it increases their confidence in mathematics. But what do we see in most of our math classrooms? All about formulas. Teacher comes to class with cane, and today what we are going to do is you are going to tell me the formula for these plane shapes. The cane is on you. How do you find the area of a triangle? The learner is blank. So when we do this, it kills the interest of our learners as far as math is concerned. I can assure you that there is no single math formula that operates in a vacuum. Every math formula in our classrooms is based on a strong concept. If the students are able to come out with the formulas using the concept, it whips the interest in them. So one of the major problems we have is that we are focused on procedural knowledge, How do you use procedures to arrive at the answer, rather than building up the concept in the learners? If I should tell you I don't have any math formula in my mind, you would be shocked. But I can produce every math formula at the JHS level because I understand each and every one of them. So it boils down to understanding concepts. So once they understand concept, it brings out the interest. The interest just comes. Imagine I have the cutouts and I'm teaching you the area of shapes. It builds your interest. But if I come and I write all the formulas on the board, it makes it boring. So everything starts up with the teacher and everything ends up with the teacher. So in building up interest or the zeal in the mathematics classroom, it's about how we present the concept. It should be conceptual rather than procedural. Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Henry.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I am really grateful for the answer you've provided,
Yes.
and I hope to put it into practice and see the outcome. And
Yeah.
if there is any feedback, I'll definitely bring it
Sure.
up in our next meeting. I'm
Sure.
grateful.
Sure.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Mrs. Elizabeth, so please you can unmute and then you have your question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please, I want to ask, how does each group respond to feedback or correction? Because some of the learners, when you correct them, the willingness to put in more effort drops. So, how will you help such a learner to overcome this challenge?
Thank you very much. It's a nice question. It's on the management strategies, but because of time, it's there in the slides. When we see it, we'll go through and then everything will be okay with this with the management plans that we would use for each of these groups. But each of these groups have a way that we give them our feedbacks. If you see, for the high achiever, you can criticize them constructively. You can let them know, oh, this thing you did this way should have been this way, and they will not be offended. But the way you criticize the high achiever, if you use the same method for a low achiever, you kill their zeal outright. For a low achiever, the little of effort they put into mathematics, they want to be appreciated. So feedback for the low achiever is very important in the sense that every little success should be talked about. Give them praise when they are doing well. Do not criticize them much. If you do that, you bring their confidence down. If they are doing well, the little of effort that they make, you would have to appreciate it. If you ask a very simple question and then you call a low achiever and the low achiever is able to answer, let the class clap for the low achiever. It would build up the confidence of the low achiever. Sometimes the high achiever will just be watching, madam, this question that Kwesi has answered and you are acting now, you clap for Kwesi. But you know that Kwesi is a low achiever and you know what that clap can do for Kwesi. So the feedback should be varied. So don't think that Yao is a high achiever. And for high achievers, when they answer very simple questions and you ask that the class clap for them, it doesn't do them anything. It doesn't do them anything at all for the high achievers. So you have to vary your feedbacks. And if you want to criticize a low achiever, if it becomes necessary, it is better you do it in private than in public. They are already struggling with their confidence in the maths classroom, and you are also giving a very bad feedback of their inability to apply the concept well in front of their peers. You kill their confidence the more. and they would never be able to come out of it. So if there is any need for you to criticize a low achiever, you have to do it in private. And it takes a lot of patience to deal with low achievers. It takes a lot of patience to deal with low achievers. If you don't have this lot of patience, you end up making them worse than they are. So the feedback, it depends. That is why I said the first thing I'm expecting that we do this week as mathematics teachers is looking at the characteristics we've outlined, categorize your learners into these 3 groups and deal with them according to the management plans we have. And then let's see if there will be some changes. Let's see if there will be some results in our next interaction, which is next week Sunday. So giving feedback to them should be very different. Yeah. I don't know if I've answered you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. Brother Benjamin.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to ask, even in external exams like a BEC,
Okay.
examination is given and you don't consider who is a low achiever, who is this or who is that. But I want to ask, class, as we are teaching, can we consider that when we are assessing them, as in giving them simple questions, or we should not include them in one box and give them the same questions to the last exam in the BEC?
Okay. In the BEC, point of correction, they consider low achievers, achievers and high achievers in setting the questions. If you check the BEC math questions, you see that some of the questions are straightforward. Some are very simple. There is no trick in answering some of those questions. And the reason why they put those questions in there are for the low achievers. You see, any standard question should be able to categorize. See, when we give questions, we are testing the level of our learners. Okay, so a question that is difficult for someone in class 1 may be very easy for someone in class 5, right? So in the same vein, even though some people are low achievers, their questions are there in there, and they will find it difficult in answering some of them. But if they do well, they'll be able to answer some of the low achievers questions in there. So in a BC, the questions are varied. 60 or 50% are for low achievers. Then some 25 to 30% are for achievers. And the last 20% is for high achievers. And that is why, or that is what a standard test should be all about. So you don't just set questions and all your questions are difficult. I think the last week we'll look at assessment. So we'll look at assessment in the last phase. But you don't give them different tasks all the time. But you make sure that you vary your assessment task in the sense that if you are given 5 questions, 4 can be, 3 can be for low achievers. I mean the low level questions. Then 1 can be the moderate level question, and then 1 can also be the high level question. And in as you are doing this, you are also pushing the achievers to get to high achievers, and you are pushing the low achievers to get to the achievers level. So you are looking at your strategies at the same time. It's a bit of a complex thing to have these 3 groups in class and managing them. So but once a while, I agree, once a while you can give a different task to a low achiever and a different task to an achiever and a different task to a high achiever, depending on what you want to what information you want to get or what result you want to achieve. But that should not be the case all the time, because if you do it all the time, the low achievers will not improve and the achievers will not improve, and the high achievers will also not improve. That is how it works. So you have to be varying your assessment task. So, but once in a while, depending on what you want to achieve, you can vary them. An example can be in a classroom where I am beginning a concept. You cannot begin a concept by your first two examples are the most difficult questions in the concept. No, you'd have to start with the low level questions, then you build them up to the model level, then the high level. But you give out a low level question, and if care is not taken, high achievers will hijack your class. Within the next 5-10 seconds, sir, please, I'm done. Sir, please, I'm done. At the end of the day, you realize that they will now be disturbing the low achievers. So in that case, you can decide based on what you want to achieve. Then you give the high achievers a different question whilst you have time for the low achievers. So it depends on what you want to achieve at a point in time. But that shouldn't be the case all the time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Madam Janet, kindly unmute. Your hand is up, please. Or you are okay.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, yes. Um, well, I'm a proprietor, and I'm also a math teacher. And what I have also realized is that when the work is difficult for the low achievers, that is what makes them. Oops, sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes, please. We can hear you.
Okay, yes. So when the teachers give difficult questions to the low achievers, that is when they lose interest. And also, um the real somebody mentioned real life situation. The lower achievers are the way they learn, they could learn when they vary the lessons by making it real life situation for them to understand. They cannot understand the way the higher achievers understand. So what I'm trying to say is that the teacher should help the lower achievers to come to probably the achievers their standard by using different methodology. Real life situation. There was a case where I had to go to the class, observe the teacher, and a child is always making mistakes in long division questions. He gets them wrong. This boy always forgets the remainder. So I had to go and teach the teacher to use addition to do the long division, so that differentiation, this child cannot remember the remainder. He will use addition to solve long division. You see, so I'm pleading with the teachers to also upgrade themselves in ways of also teaching the mathematics using real life situation for the other the low achievers. You can see that the low achievers, some of them will go slow, they are slow, and then they will catch up and even come to become higher achievers. So our teachers will help them. Me, I'm mathematics and I love mathematics. I feel that mathematics is not difficult because it is a formula. It's easy. You put them in and you get your results. But it is the way it's being taught. It is the way it's being taught, bringing the children to the classroom, making exercises and making it interesting, so that those who can use the real life situation to run with the lessons, and those who take it straightforward, they would actually become, they will have the same achievement. You see, when you give them the exercise, they would think, use critical thinking with the real life situation to get everything correct. So this is what I want to plead with the teachers to also research themselves and find ways of differentiating in the class. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Janet. Okay, I think there is no hand up now. Oh, okay. Okay. Mr. Frank, can we take these two questions? The last two questions.
So let's take them together. So
All right.
I just start.
Okay. So, Mr. Godfred.
Hello.
Yes.
Good
Please,
evening, and
yes.
thank you for the brilliant ideas shared. I have been thinking there are a number of our children who have had the wrong beginnings. Now they are in JHS2, they are in JHS3. Time is quite short. What ideas can we bring in so that we can whip their interest quickly and jump on board so they can be whom they should be? Thank you.
Welcome. Please, can we take one more? So I talk about the two and then we end it for today's session.
Okay. I think there is no app again.
Okay.
So we can respond to that, then we put this session to an end.
Okay, thank you. So in talking about our learners who do not have a foundation, it becomes difficult. One thing I realized is that in many a times our focus is on the BC, forgetting that we are teaching learners to become lifelong learners, and we are teaching learners for life. So a student whose foundation is weak or has been destroyed, and that student is at the JHS level, would need to start up from somewhere. It takes time. It takes extra time to do it. And one thing I've realized is if we rush it, we complicate issues. If we rush it, we complicate issues. In a sense that if a student is in JHS2 and you realize that the foundation is not there, the student is having a lot of challenges. Mr. Evans, please, can you mute for us? Thank you. The student is having a lot of challenges in understanding math concepts. And you think of the procedural way. One thing is that the students may get it and then pass the BC all right, but that student getting to senior high school, the case becomes worse. So I believe that once we are learning this, we would have to start by correcting our JHS1 learners. I know we have JHS1 learners who cannot do basic additions. One challenge is long division. Yes, so I agree with Mama Janet. The approach, the methods should be varied. The methods should be varied. And you would have to be on top of your game. You'd have to be open to learning, to know the various techniques or the various ways you can teach a concept. If you want to teach Pythagoras theorem, there are about 6, 7, 8 methods you can use. And don't expect that if you have one method, all learners would jump onto it. You have one or two learners who would not get that method. So you have to vary your methods. So this correctively, it should start from JHS 1, JHS 2, but JHS 3, it becomes a very difficult task. Yeah, so I don't know, but it becomes a very difficult task if it's in JHS 3. Yeah, but JHS 2, JHS 1, JHS 2, you have a year or a year and a half. Whilst JHS 1, you have 2 years or 3 years to correct it. And I believe that if we look at it again, we would get a best solution to correct this weak foundation of our learners as far as mathematics is concerned. And it boils down to learning. It boils down to learning. Nobody is beyond learning. It doesn't matter how many years you have taught the subject. Every year you'd have to improve. I always say that if you're a math teacher and the way you taught a concept 2 years ago is the same way you are teaching the concept today, there is a problem. Because 2 years ago, you taught a concept, last year, same concept, same way. This year, you would have to reflect on how you taught the concept, look at your strength, look at your weakness, and look at how to improve in teaching that same concept. So we have to be open to learning. It doesn't matter how many years you have been in a teaching field or how many years you have taught the concept, there is always a chance for improvement. So it all boils down. That's why I said earlier on that everything rises and falls with the teacher. So if we are open to learning and we learn and we vary our methods, we'll be able to correct some of these foundational errors that our learners have. But for Form 2 and Form 3 especially become difficult. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's show some appreciation. Let's show some appreciation to Mr. Frank. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's good. That's good. We thank God for how far He has brought us. All the questions, let's note them down. Next week's section, when we meet, we'll address all these questions. Vincent, he says, I believe mathematics is heavily centered. He said mathematics is heavily centered on multiplication and the other 3 basic operations, as well as place value. We should encourage learners to constantly practice multiplication and respect place value concept. This will go the long way to ease the introduction of other concepts. Thank you, Mr. Vincent Ja. All right, so we are at the end of this session. As I've said at the beginning of the training, it is a 4-week, 4 Sundays program. So we have ended the first week. Next week, the same time, 6:30, we are taking the second session. Let's encourage our colleagues to be part of this wonderful training. I hope everybody has learned something that we'll keep and then use them in our classrooms. This program is very important because it is done on Sunday. So Monday, you go to your classrooms to go and implement everything that you have learned today throughout the week. And then we meet next week. We come and do a review, the challenges you have faced and all that. Then we take another set of training and then we come again and then we move on with it. On Wednesday, 13th of November at 10:30 a.m., we are having our AI info section to discover how our schools can become AI certified schools. So kindly make time to join. Okay, that's good. The flyer is displayed. I hope you cannot see it. So let's make time to be part of this wonderful section. KS Consult, we have all it takes to make education the best, to make your schools to stand tall among the other schools. So we thank you very much for making time for us this evening. We thank you, Mr. Frank Seshie, for sharing this wonderful time with us. We have learned a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you. So can we ask someone to give us the closing prayer if there is nothing to look at again? Mr. Frank.
Yes, sir.
Can I bring the section to an end, please?
Yes, please.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you very much. Thank you. We are
But
grateful. We are
I think
grateful.
Mr. Kingsley has raised his hand.
Okay.
I don't know if he
Okay.
accepted for us.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. I raised my hand to be that person who want to volunteer to give the prayer. Since today I was also a participant.
Okay.
If I'm allowed.
Yes, please. Yes.
So before I say the prayer, I would like to thank all of you and especially encourage the school leaders to be part of our Wednesday info session on the AI. Please share the flyer. Tell a school owner to tell another school owner, tell another school owner to be part of it. It is on Wednesday at 10 a.m. So we pray in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. God our Father, we thank you this evening for such a moment, for such a time, for such a learning opportunity that as we have encountered this evening. We thank you for the lives of our resource person, Mr. Frank Kwame Seshie. We thank you for the life of all teachers, all school leaders who have made time out of their busy schedule to be part of this evening session. My prayer is that, Father, whatever we have learned this evening, let your spirit guide us. Let your spirit be with us so that we may continue to make use of them, especially the best way possible to make impact in the lives of our children that we teach. Let mathematics from today onwards be a thing of which has this fear be vanished in our lives and the lives of the children. Let every teacher confront and approach mathematics with fun and with that enthusiasm to make impact in the lives of the children. Henceforth, let mathematics be one of our most interesting and fun subjects in the life of our children in school. So that at the end of the day, when everything goes as planned in these 4 weeks, we'll come back to you to give you glory. We thank and bless you through Christ our Lord. Amen.
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 So
Thank you
remember to
very
join
much.
our social media platforms and then to be shared on the page. If you are not on our WhatsApp platform, okay, so please join the social media platform. Thank you very much. Thank you, and have a good night.